Imagine standing in the heat of the desert in the year 1324 and watching tens of thousands of people walk past you. Following them is a line of camels stretching as far as you can see, carrying heavy packs that glitter in the sun. At the head of this incredible procession was Mansa Musa. He was the king of the Mali Empire in West Africa, and he was making a religious journey to the city of Mecca. To ensure everyone knew he was the ruler of a powerful empire, he traveled with a mind-boggling amount of money. His caravan included 80 camels, each carrying up to 300 pounds of pure gold. That is over 2 tons of gold in total. This chart shows the value of gold in Egypt's economy during his visit. Mansa Musa was so generous on his journey that he gave away massive amounts of his fortune in Cairo. He flooded the market with so much free metal that the value crashes, which accidentally ruined the local Egyptian economy for years. Hearing about a trip like this brings up a practical question. How does a single leader gather that much wealth? And how do you even run an empire massive enough to produce it? To give away tons of gold, you need a system that constantly generates a massive surplus. That surplus came directly from the highly organized government systems built by West African empires like Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. In African societies south of the Sahara, the distance between the king and his subjects was often surprisingly small. In the Empire of Ghana, the sound of drums called people to appear before the king, where anyone with a problem could explain it directly to the ruler or his assistants. As these empires grew, they faced a logistical hurdle. Mali had an enormous amount of land and millions of citizens. Direct, everyday management by one person became physically impossible. Kings solved this by dividing vast territories into large areas called provinces, placing trusted generals in charge. Provinces were fractured further into smaller districts. Villages inside districts were governed by local clan chiefs, deeply familiar with the specific area. Back at the top, the king surrounded himself with specialized advisors from the royal household. These were experts in law, the management of currency, and the many languages spoken across the empire. By delegating power down a clear chain of command, from the king to regional governors, and finally to local chiefs, they maintained order and kept the peace over immense distances. A highly organized government needs a reliable way to pay for itself. For West African empires, the answer was the trans-Saharan trade routes. This flowchart outlines their economic system. The king maintained a powerful army to protect gold mines and traveling merchants. Enjoying safety from attacks, merchants paid taxes on their goods. These payments flowed right back to the king, funding the army. To keep this cycle running smoothly, the king had to ensure his military generals stayed loyal. Mansa Musa achieved this by awarding property, horses, and a very specific prize to his military heroes, the national honor of the trousers. At the time, almost everyone in Mali wore pieces of unsewn cloth wrapped around their bodies. Only the king and his royal family were allowed to wear clothing that was stitched together. So being gifted a pair of wide, sewn trousers meant you were being elevated to the status of royalty. The more successful the general, the bigger the trousers. By using military protection to secure the roads and collecting taxes to fund that protection, West African rulers created a powerful cycle that allowed their massive kingdoms to grow rich and safely maintain their territory. While merchants brought gold, salt, and food across the Sahara, they also brought new ideas. Most traditional African societies shared certain religious practices. They believed in a single creator god and communicated with this god by praying to spirits and honoring their deceased ancestors, who acted as messengers. In the 700s, Arab and Berber merchants began arriving from the north. Along with their trade goods, they introduced the religion of Islam to West Africa. African rulers welcomed these Muslim traders. Even before the kings adopted Islam themselves, they allowed their people to convert. Letting people practice different religions built trust with foreign merchants. This tolerance expanded the empire's diplomatic reach and opened up even more lucrative trade networks. When Mansa Musa journeyed to Mecca, he left gold behind, but he brought back knowledge. He asked Islamic teachers, scholars, and architects to return to Mali with him. Later leaders built on this foundation. In the Songhai Empire, a ruler named Askia Muhammad ordered his courts to follow Muslim laws and transformed cities like Timbuktu into famous centers of Islamic learning. Rulers used their massive wealth to open schools to teach the Quran, construct beautiful mosques, and establish enormous university libraries that attracted students from all over the Muslim world. This cultural blending happened across the continent. Along the eastern coast of Africa, the mixing of inland African traditions with the practices of Arab and Persian settlers created the Swahili culture and language, which still thrives today. These early African civilizations became historical superpowers by combining vast physical wealth with brilliant organization and a commitment to global knowledge.